as we get ready here for 2 qualifying heats to make the main event here at this track for our next venue of the season here in Season 8 of the Snickers Cup Series. As you can see, we have Heat 1 on the left side of your screen, Heat 2 on the right side of your screen, and here's the thing, folks. I posted on Facebook I was going to be doing something that's going to really challenge my commentating skills. Tonight, we are going to bring you both heats at the exact same time in a split-screen feature, so hope you guys are ready. Charles Sanford and Danny Wells on the front row for heat number 1, John Cittadino and Ian Dutta on the front row for heat number 2. Now here's the interesting thing about this. You heard me say that these are heat races for the main event. What's going to happen here is there are 21 drivers in each heat. Only the top 10 in each heat is going to transfer over to the main event in a 20-car battle for the win. And this is going to be very interesting too, because basically you have to make the main event to have a shot at winning the main event, to be able to have a shot at getting into the chase for the championship. So it's going to be a lot on the line here tonight for these drivers to try and make it into the main event, to even have a shot at winning and maybe locking themselves up a spot in the chase for the championship. John Cittadino has already done that. He won back at Rockingham, but Ian Dutta, Danny Wells, and Charles Sanford, all starting in the front row, have yet to do that. And this is a track where track position really is key too. There will be no caution flags. We will run 23 laps in each heat and cover as much of the action in both heats at the exact same time as we possibly can. Are you guys ready? I certainly am. This is going to be exciting to try and call, as Danny Wells and Charles Sanford, John Cittadino and Ian Dutta lead their respective heats down here to the start-finish line. Heat number 2 is green. Heat number 1 is green. We're underway here at GC StuntRoad. Charles Sanford immediately goes out to the front. Cittadino now going to clear Ian Dutta, and now here comes Danny Wells in Heat 1. He's going to be side by side now with Sanford. Got a good run there through that corner, as now it's a dead even heat between the Mitsubishi Lancer and the Chevy. Cittadino has checked out. James Silverfox has moved into second past Ian Dutta, who still is having trouble. Dutta not exactly able to get going here. Now has lost third place to Sean Galligan, now under fire from Sean Henley for fourth. And now a battle on for the lead again. Danny Wells had it. Sanford going to take it right away, as Danny Wells appeared to stall off one of those jumps there. He now drops back to second. Sanford back to the point. And now James Silverfox under the 72 of John Cittadino. He gets the wall and spins around. Also Galligan spun around there as he got the wall, and that's just going to hold everybody up here, at least for now. Silverfox contact there with Levi McIntyre, and it looks like somebody got into the entrance of the pit road wall over in Heat 1. That's Dougie Shears. That's going to be a big trouble spot for these drivers right there. They take that turn too wide, and they get themselves caught in the entrance of the pit road wall. And Dougie Shears the first to experience that in Heat number 1, as now you can see him as the dust is starting to clear. But Danny Wells continues to lead Cittadino, with having both James Silverfox and Sean Galligan encounter problems. He's now opened up quite a bit of a distance, so the best battle for the lead going on in Heat number 1, with Danny Wells, Charles Sanford, and looks like Bob Jones may be joining that fray in mere moments. And there's another car there too. I believe that's the 04 of Joshua Michaels. So Cittadino continues to lead the way. Good battle on for second there, though, between Levi McIntyre and Sean Galligan over in heat number 2. Galligan, who had that problem earlier on, right in this corner, as a matter of fact, now is able to make that corner cleanly, and he's trying to get to the inside of Levi McIntyre as Silverfox and Ian Dutta took that turn awfully wide, and Danny Wells going to stall out again. Here comes the Charles Sanford machine to the inside, as there's now the lap machine. While he's actually on the tail end of the lead lap, I believe Dougie Shears going to play havoc with these three: Danny Wells, Bob Jones, and Charles Sanford. We're looking in heat number 2 at Cole Daly. He is currently in the final transfer spot, I believe. This is a battle for the final transfer spot. I believe he is 8th and Jessica Shelton's 9th, with Corbett in 10th. These drivers have to stay in the top 10 if they're going to transfer into the main event, as the battle continues to heat up for the lead over in heat number 1. And Sanford got a little loose, and he slides there through that portion of the jumps. Danny Wells back to the point. Bob Jones going to clear for second, as Corbett is in that 10th position right now. Joshua Balkowitz, the rookie out of Rogers V8 Performance Motorsports, trying to run him down and take away that position. But it's all John Cittadino at the front. Trouble in heat number 2. That was Bob Jones. He ended up getting the wall slid around. Now there's trouble even further behind him. That is, I believe, Jacob Lawler? No, that's not Jacob. Is that Jacob Lawler? I don't know who that was. I'm sorry. I could not see the name. And I couldn't make it out by the paint scheme as Ashley LaPlante is on pit road. Something has happened to the 25. One thing about this race I should let you guys know is that damage is turned off. So nobody's going to retire from the race via damage problems. If they have mechanical problems, that's something that can't be helped. Danny Wells, John Cittadino leading their respective heats. I do apologize on not being able to tell who that one car was that had gotten the wall back in the final corner in Heat 1. Just couldn't make it out. Bob Jones been running really well there in that third position, and now we're looking at the battle for second heating up again on heat number 2. That's Levi McIntyre, Sean Galligan, and James Silverfox starting to close in on this. All this going on behind John Cittadino. And this is the battle on for 10th back here. Well, it was. Chris Washer has run into trouble. In the 10 machine, he's lost a number of spots. He lost one to Poteet, he lost one to... Whoa, Megan Atkins has just been turned to the wall. And in heat number 2, Zachary Fitzwater has gotten into the wall. So at the exact same moment in both heat races, two drivers encountering problems. Megan Atkins in the 33 in heat 1, Zachary Fitzwater in the 76 in heat 2. And here's the raging battle for 10th in heat number 2, still going on. Joshua Balkowitz has actually been able to clear Kyle Corbett. Jessica Shelton's fallen back, and now I believe Cole Daly is outside the top 10. He's about to get a challenge from Charles Jackson and Ralph Mason. And the battle's on for the lead over in heat number 1. Samper has gotten around Danny Wells. He goes to the point via the high side. Nice pass by the Mitsubishi Lancer, which is still looking for its first win of the season. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Samper, Gonzalez, and Collard are all running up inside the top 10 right now in heat number 1. So there's an opportunity here for Mitsubishi Lancers. There's trouble over in heat number 2. Somebody has spun it around. I believe that's Kyle Matthews in the 24, Nathan Hudson in the 84. And there's more trouble. Charles Jackson has kind of penetrated his car, T-boned it into the entrance of the pit road wall. Whole log jam there, and it just caused a whole bunch of drivers to be all checked up. As John Cittadino continues to lead, he's now put, I believe that is Tanner Sullivan, one lap down, or is that, yeah, I don't think, is that Tanner Sullivan or is that Noah Hart? All the Audis are running their special Audi paint schemes here tonight, and Noah Hart and Tanner Sullivan's car do look slightly similar. I believe that's the yellow numbers, so that would be Noah Hart. Oh, and there's one of the Audis in the wall. That's James Silverfox in the 41. He was up inside the top 5. He's gotten the pit road wall. That's going to be the toughest part for these drivers all night long, is not to take the turn too wide. As you see, Joshua Collard in heat number 1. He's a Mitsubishi Lancer in the top 10. Jacob Lawler is also in the top 10. So is Michael Norman. He's in 6th. 7th place, Brandon Gonzalez. So like I said, all 3 of the Mitsubishi Lancers there. And that is Dylan Poteet, Joshua Michaels, that's 8th and 9th, and currently in the 10th position now is Jake Rogers. Chris Washer is currently in the 11th spot, trying to work his way into the main event. I believe Dylan Young, our winner from Champs-Élysées, is right behind him in 12th. Battle on right here. This is for, I believe, the 4th position between Ian Dutta and Sean Henley in the 57. Good battling going on there. Whoa, contact between the two of them. Henley already has won a race this season. Back at M&M Super Speedway, Ian Dutta still looking for his first win of the season. As, looks like Makoto Iguchi in Heat 1 ran into some problems. Made a pit stop and now is returning to the track, our Daytona 500 winner. That's another thing about this particular track, is if they go wide, they may not hit the pit wall. They may get lucky, but they may end up getting caught having to go down pit road, and apparently that's the case here for Makoto Iguchi. Taking a look in heat number 2 at Nathan Hudson, he's running a special black paint scheme here in honor of his grandfather who passed away. As a matter of fact, our main event at StuntRoad is going to be run in honor of Nathan Hudson's grandfather, and Nathan Hudson would love nothing better than to try and make the main event and end up winning it in a race that's dedicated to his granddad. As we're looking at James McLeod and James Qualls, it's a battle going on outside of the top 10. Harrison Langford. You know, I've been thinking about this, as there's trouble up here. Joshua Collard has gotten into trouble, so is Bob Jones and Charles Samper. Hey, wait, is Collard the leader? Trying to wait for a scoring monitor update. No, I think Danny Wells is still the leader. Looking here at Trent Dunham. Yeah, Danny Wells is still out in front. I was going to say, I wasn't sure where Danny was, but he's still out in front. Citadino's still out in front. Those two have just been putting on a clinic. Like I said, track position counts. But the one thing I was thinking about here is if drivers that are running so well in points don't make the event, like James McLeod, like Ralph Mason, like our two-time winners, Sean Galligan and Trent Dunham. Now, they will get points if they don't make the main event. Every driver that doesn't make the main event gets a default amount of 15 points. So they don't lose out in that respect. As Noah Hart has hit pit road, something's happened to him. And Danny Wells, the leader, wrecked. Danny Wells wrecked. He's got Trent Dunham collected with him. Bob Jones gets a piece of it. Makoto Iguchi is spun around. Lawler is collected. Sanford is collected. Michael Norman just hit the 4. And Danny Wells, who's been leading this thing since the get-go, has run into trouble. And now Joshua Michaels has become caught on the pit road wall. And it's still a log jam as Washer gets turned around. Canepa is involved. It looks like William Duncan and I think Megan Atkins made it through the dust. I don't know. But that's a heartbreak there for Danny Wells, who was leading at the time. Lead is going to be inherited now by the 34 of Joshua Collard as we're watching the battle continue on between Ian Dutta and Sean Henley. That again, I believe, is still for the 4th position. Levi McIntyre trying to close in on Sean Galligan for 2nd. But this all going on behind John Citadino. And McIntyre got the wall. He spun it out. And now he's going to have to try and regroup as here comes 4th and 5th Ian Dutta and Sean Henley. And Dutta spins it around again, and Henley's gotten himself caught in the pit road wall. Absolute, utter chaos going on here. Non-stop action, and Henley is still trying to get his car dislodged from the pit road. They have to teleport to pit road, and he got a hit there. I believe that was from James McLeod and somebody else who were racing double wide. That was Cole Daly and James McLeod. And Charles Jackson has spun it down the pit road. Harrison Langford and Cody Lamas have spun it around. And it looks like Charles Jackson's going to have to come to pit road. I think he got turned down there. I don't think he hit the pit road wall. So he's going to bypass Sean Henley. So what a turn of events we've had here. A lot of jostling for spots here. In heat number 1, Citadino still remains the leader. A lot of jostling for spots over in heat number 1. I think I said heat number 1 for the other one. For heat number 2, Citadino's still the leader. In heat number 1, though, a lot of jostling for position. Danny Wells losing the lead, and now Joshua Collard runs away with it as it looks like the Bob Jones car got the wall, and now that brings, trouble. Makoto Iguchi just got the inside pit wall. Contact between Dylan Pote and Jake Rogers they try to avoid. And they just continue to have problems here in this portion, and apparently it's go time. Oh, look out! Zachary Fitzwater just got turned in heat number 2 off the nose of Joshua Balkowitz. But they keep it going. Oh, wow, look out. Crowding each other there, Chris Washer, William Duncan. That's just outside the top 10. There was Danny Wells returned to the racetrack, but I believe he's now fallen at least a lap down to the leaders. So now Joshua Collard out in front and dominating. Long ways back before you get to a battle, I believe, between Bob Jones and Charles Sanford. And we're looking here at the Cody Lamas machine, James Qualls. They're still on the lead lap, but they need other drivers ahead of them to run to trouble. And Dylan Young in heat number 1 has hit the pit lane. I believe that was the Dylan Young machine. That may have been Makoto Iguchi. If it was, I apologize. There was a red car, and Dylan Young is running the Reds Apple paint scheme here tonight. And with Makoto Iguchi running the Allstate colors, both of them are red cars and they're both Fords, so it is very easy to make that mistake. And Michael Norman, he's worked his way up here into the top 10 now. Dylan Pote, Isaac Canepa, they're in the top 10, and in the final transfer spot is Jake Rogers, and there's Dylan Young. So apparently Dylan Young was not the car I saw. Apparently it was Makoto Iguchi, as Cole Daly has hit the pit lane. Our winner from Thornton has run to trouble in heat number 2. So they're dropping like flies here, and going back to what I was saying earlier on, if those drivers that do not make the race have to default to the 15 points they'll get for not even starting the main event, how's that going to affect the shaping up of the points heading into our next event? I mean, this track and this format that we've got set up here could really change the outcome of what the points are going to look like. As Chris Washer continues to have a struggling night in Heat 1, he is now teleported to the pit lane once again. He's been having a lot of struggles here tonight, has Chris. As up here, this is a battle actually to try and stay inside the top 10. Canepa is in 8th, Jake Rogers is in 9th. They're trying to keep distance between themselves and the next car that would knock one of them out of the top 10, which I believe would be the Dylan Young machine. Ralph Mason we're looking at in heat number 2. He's just outside the top 10, I believe. Trying to stay in there. You know, Mason, McLeod, there are a number of drivers that don't have wins that are up inside the top 10. They got to make this main event if they're going to have a shot at winning. Danny Wells is in pit road again, and James McLeod in heat 2 has just run into trouble. Almost got hit from behind there by, I believe that was Noah Hart. Cole Daly now returning back onto the racetrack as we're looking here at second place Bob Jones in heat 1, trying to run down Joshua Collard, but that's going to be easier said than done. Collard has clean racetrack ahead of him and nobody to challenge him. There's Cody Lamas in the 48 in heat 2. Just steadily running his race here, trying to stay out of trouble. Harrison Langford also trying to do the same thing as John Citadino's in a bit of a traffic pickle here. Just ahead is the last car on the tail end of the lead lap in heat 2, and that's James Qualls. Behind him is Charles Jackson, who would love to be able to get back into the top 10, but is currently caught at least a lap down, maybe more. Citadino continuing to hold his ground and continuing to dominate this race. But with what's going on, he better keep his wits about him. Is just up ahead as well as another car on the tail end of the lead lap. That's Harrison Langford in the 43. Meanwhile, in heat number 1, Joshua Collard may encounter some lap traffic in mere moments. The 10 of Chris Washer has returned to the track, and he is ahead of the Sega Mitsubishi Lancer of Joshua Collard. Levi McIntyre, I believe, has just now moved into the second position. Corbett to third, Dutta to fourth. Where did Bob Jones go? Something's happened to the 27. He's lost a number of spots. Trying to look for him here. Not sure where he is. There's Sean Galligan trying to work his way back into the top 10 after we saw him spin around at one point. See, McIntyre's moved to second. Corbett into third. I don't know where Bob Jones has gone. Is Citadino going to let the 54 of Charles Jackson go on by? That's not bad strategy. We're looking here at Tanner Sullivan in the 20, who I believe when he crossed the stripe is in the 10th position, and he is. So Tanner Sullivan has now put himself into the top 10. He's the next guy to try and have to worry about being kicked out of the top 10. This is the guy that would try and do it. Oh, and John Citadino's running into trouble, so is Sean Galligan. Over in heat number 2, the leader has wrecked John Citadino. Oh, and now we got trouble further back. That was, I believe, another Audi. That is Noah Hart. And now Ian Dutta has spun around after contact. That's Zachary Fitzwater. Bolkowitz is flipped over after hitting the back end of the 81. And that's a number of drivers who are running inside the top 10 right there. Oh my goodness, including the leader, John Citadino. Deja vu from heat 1. Danny Wells was dominating that race. He hit the pit wall, and now John Citadino, while leading, has hit the pit wall. And second place, Sean Galligan, not second place, but Sean Galligan, who's trying to make his way into the top 10, was collecting that. So was Dutta, so was Fitzwater. Bolkowitz has flipped over. And we continue to have this race continue to take on an entirely new look as it continues to progress. So now the question is, who inherits the lead? I would have to assume in heat number 2, the lead is going to be resumed by, I would think, the driver that was running in second place at the time, which I believe was Levi McIntyre. Look at all this battling going on back here. And that is indeed the case. Levi McIntyre is the leader. Closing in here now on the Anthony McCrory machine, who I believe is not on the lead lap. So McIntyre to the point. McIntyre hasn't won a Snickers Cup Series event since the second race of the season at Rockingham, UK. And he'd love to be able to make the main event, have a shot at winning his second race of the season, and like Trent Dunham, Sean Galligan, put all doubts behind in whether or not he's going to make the chase. So Matter of fact, I believe right now, I'm trying to do the calculations off the top of my head. I believe we have... Oh, whoa, trouble, trouble! That's Charles Jackson again in heat number 2, and Brandon Gonzalez in heat number 1 has encountered problems. He's on pit road. One of those Mitsubishi Lancers. We were talking about how Mitsubishi was running so well tonight with the 03, 23, and 34, and Jake Rogers is also on the pit lane in the 19 car. Mitsubishi still leads with Collard. There you're looking at second place. That is Kyle Corbett has moved into the second position. Ian Dutta is currently in third. Fourth place would be Ralph Mason at the current moment over in heat number 2 we're talking about. And fifth place is going to be... I was not able to see who that was. Might have been Nathan Hudson, I'm not certain. As they're cycling as well through heat number 1, and William Duncan is the final car in the top 10 for heat number 1 right now. And the car he'd have to worry about right now, I believe, is Tanner Sullivan in the 20. But Tanner is quite a ways back. As Collard continues to lead, we're looking here at James Qualls. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. He's in the 11th position right now. He needs someone to run into trouble so he can move into the top 10. Laps winding down here ever so quickly. These drivers have to make their moves pretty doggone soon here. I'm trying to see here. The quality is not too good when it's in a smaller screen, but I think we're on lap 20, maybe 21 of the 23 scheduled laps. Right now it's looking like Joshua Collard and Levi McIntyre are going to transfer their way into the main event by winning their respective heats. The question is, though, in these final few laps, who is going to be the ones to mess up and miss out? Who are going to be the lucky ones to transfer in? There's another car that just hit the pit lane in heat number 2. I don't know who that was. As Joshua Collard continues to lead, Levi McIntyre continues to lead. Neither one of these drivers looking like they're going to be in any kind of trouble, but that's what we thought about John Cedino and Danny Wells. And the two of them ended up wrecking, getting caught in the entrance to the pit road wall while dominating their respective heats. Levi McIntyre and Joshua Collard, I believe, are both on lap 22, getting ready to come around and take the white flag one more time. Who's going to transfer in? Looking to see white flag displayed for Collard in heat number 1. Levi McIntyre still has to come around, take the white flag here in heat number 2. And it is now in the air for him. So we know at least, barring any problems, as Ralph Mason's run into trouble. He's on pit road in heat number 2. He was one of those drivers that were going to transfer in without a doubt, but now that's in question. But we know that Levi McIntyre and Joshua Collard, barring any problems, they're going to make their way in by winning these heat races. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the format is if you win the race, you start in the front row. So Collard would start on the pole for the main event, and Levi McIntyre would start on the outside of the front rows. We just saw there was either Anthony McCurry or Noah Hart in trouble right in front of the leader McIntyre, but he's going to continue on as they're going to come down here. Out of the final corner is Joshua Collard in heat number 1. He's going to come across the final stretch, and he's going to win heat number 1 and transfer into the main event. Second place is going to be, well, it's under contest here. Well, I know it's not under contest, but Bob Jones has it. He's going to try and transfer in, and now he's in trouble with Trent Dunham. Sanford moves by for second. Into third goes Lawler. And it looks like Corbett's going to transfer in the second position. Dutta will transfer in third in heat number 2. We're still waiting on drivers to cross the stripe. Nathan Hudson's going to cross the stripe. He'll transfer in. Bob Jones going to try and transfer in by crossing the stripe on pit road. He does so. Poteet also transfers in. Oh, look. Oh, no. Trouble for McLeod. Shelton moves by. She's going to transfer in. Rogers is transferred in heat 1. Trouble for William Duncan in the final corner. Harrison Langford in heat number 2. He'll transfer in. Kyle Matthews, I think, may have just crossed the stripe and transferred in. We're waiting for the scoring update. He got 10th. He got 10th away from William Duncan. And now we're waiting on seeing who's going to get the 10th position over in heat number 2. We know for the most part who's transferred in, but we're waiting on that 10th position. Qualls was able to make it in. That was the break he needed. He's transferred. But who's going to get 10th? Did Galligan get it? I don't know if Galligan got it or not as you look at the left side of your screen. Collard, Lawler, Sanford, Pote, Jones, Canepa, Dillon, Young, Tanner, Sullivan, Dougie Shears, and Kyle Matthews. They're the top 10 to transfer in. McLeod may be crossing the stripe here on pit road to get that final 10th position. Where do they score him? He's still in 10th. He transfers in even though his trouble's out of the final corner. He'll transfer in Will McLeod in the final transfer position. And now spins it out, coming out of pit road. Oh my goodness. Well, how about that? So we know at least 10 drivers that have transferred in over in heat number 1. We're waiting for the official scoring on who's going to transfer in heat number 2. We know Levi McIntyre's at least one of them. Kyle Corbett, Ian Dutta, they're going to transfer. There you go. Hudson, Jessica Shelton, Harrison Langford, Johnson, Cody Lamas, James Qualls, and James McLeod. They're going to transfer in. Those are the 20 drivers going to battle it out in the main event. All the other drivers are going to end up giving a default 15 points, and they will not take part in the main event. This could be a big point shakeup. We hope you'll tune in for the main event at StuntRoad. That'll be the next race coming out here on the History Sports Channel. Offline racing at its best. See you guys next time.